And I be yelling out, gang, gang. Do you gang bang? I be outside with my gang, gang. What's good, YouTube? What it do, man? It's your boy Benji. We back in between the ropes. If you are new, please don't forget to subscribe, man. We joined the Benji family this way. Don Callis playing games, so I already told everybody that watched the show with me live. You locked in for life. This ain't no funny business. This ain't no jokey joke. We keeping it real over here. It's Death Row Records. Welcome to the Benji family. It's all good over here though, you know. It's all smiles, no big deal. But man, y'all have been on my head top about Full Gear. I was finally able to watch it, bro. I feel like it's just a little bit late for me to drop my review, but if y'all want to, I can. But I just wanted to point out the fact that many of y'all may not know, I dang sure didn't. AEW has a DC crossover. I'm gonna have to go check that out. I was letting y'all know in the live stream that I really am somebody who's really into comic books, so. Let's talk about what we saw on the show. This is off of Full Gear, fresh off of Full Gear, where we've got the Continental Championship Tournament going on. That's gonna be the theme of the show. And to open up the show, we saw the Proto Style Kyle Fletcher versus Okada. Now, Okada is the Continental Champion. Or is a unified champion, really. If he is able to breeze through the tournament, he can likely still hold his championship belt. But if he does not breeze through the tournament and actually lose the tournament, then somebody can challenge for one of his titles, from what I understand. And I appreciate y'all that were in the chat with me on the live stream. That kind of filled me up. Hey, yo. Fill me up to speed. I also didn't know, and I heard some of the commentators talking about it, that Okada is one of the longest reigning champions and that potentially he could be the greatest champion ever because he has the opportunity to surpass one of the longest reigning champs and, of course, get the most amount of wins in a tournament in AEW history. Now, this match started off relatively friendly, man. Obviously, these guys are both in the Don Callis family. They could join the Benji family, but they're playing games. Eventually, they realize that there's a time limit and they have to find a way to find a winner. Now, they both tried to fight dirty. At the end of the day, these are two bad guys, and typically I don't like it, but I like it. At the end of the day, there's a little bit of history between these two. They're obviously in the same family, and I mean, somebody's got to be the right-hand man of Don Callis when Benji's not there. There were certainly some funny spots, and at the end of the day, I thought the Rainmaker was going to turn it on. These dudes brawled in and outside of the ring, and I called it early, dude. These refs be cheating. Okada was getting so much momentum, but the referee just continued to find a way to get in his way. He at least did do my boy a favor by not disqualifying him early after a couple nut shots. I will say I was a little underwhelmed by the finish. I mean, these dudes were both landing big-time moves and looked like there was going to be something that was going to go on with the referee, but it ended up just being like a big roll-up pin that was able to take out Okada. Now, the potential is available for this dude to lose the championship belt. And it's very likely that my boy Takeshita is geeking. Like, Takeshita is a D1 hater, bro. And I know he's excited that the opportunity is finally here that your boy Okada can lose his championship belt. The Don Callis families, if you had to ask me, they fighting. There's too many people fighting, bumping heads. I know this is Takeshita right now, bro. It's Takeshita and the rest of the Don Callis family now that they have an opportunity to win the championship belt. There was a moment after the match where Don Callis tried to bring these boys together, and it looked like it was going to get bad. I thought Okada was going to get real disrespectful, but he kept it cool, and they shook hands. If you had to ask me, Okada's not done with this, man. If I was him, I would feel like everybody's behind my back talking, and they act like I'm not the GOAT or something like that. So at this point, I think it's just about right. It's just about time to unleash the pain, unleash the rain. Let these boys know who you are, bro. You've been spending too much time trying to be nice, trying to be buddy-buddy with all these boys. You got to remember, at the end of the day, you are the one that holds the title, brother. And everybody wants a little bit of that gold. We then got a match between the Cat Lady and Willow versus the Sisters of Sin. And I ain't gonna lie, I gotta salute the Sisters of Sin. They came out with a pretty cool entrance. And we were talking about it in the live stream. I was just certain that because of this entrance and the way that these women are being presented, it's very likely that they were going to at least proceed in this tournament. But it looks like they got as far as needed to get. There was a moment in this match that a lot of people were cooking. We were in the chat confused. I mean, these people are just wild right now. So, the Sisters of Sin were putting the beating on these women, right? Julia Hart climbs to the top rope. I'm like, bro, hurry up. You take it too long, girl. This is your one window of opportunity. So I thought there was going to be some shenanigans that happened, right? No, she just ends up overshooting the moonsault, lands on her feet, and then tries to clean it up with an elbow drop. It was done relatively smoothly, so like if you blinked, you probably wouldn't have caught it. But a lot of people caught it. So if you had to ask me, the reaction to what happened was a lot greater than what actually happened. It wasn't really a big deal. But it did look sloppy real time. Anyways, the Sisters of Sin ended up losing the match, and Willow and Harley Cameron advance. And we were talking about it for a while in the live stream. I think this is going to be the inaugural tag team champions. Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. I believe that they can hold the gold and have plenty of hilarious segments moving forwards. And they could draw a lot of light to those championship belts. If you look at most of the field, it's a lot of bad guys. So I think that the potential challengers are many. Speaking of challengers, some women that are also in the tournament are Toni Storm, who made her appearance today, where she addressed a certain somebody who's going to be tagging with Megan Bayne. And she decided to let this woman know that the decision was made. They're going to have it's going to be a holiday death match. I don't know really what that will look like, but no tags, no countouts, just straight brutality. I'm down to see what this is going to look like. And if you had to ask me, I think that Megan Bayne and Miss Deathrider should win this. I think that there could be potential storytelling to move forwards, and whether or not Megan Bayne would join the Death Riders, and eventually this could end up with shenanigans in the championship match. I think that's the way to go. But I will take a second to address. I mean, it was looking good. I tip my hat to you. We also got to see Samoa Joe, our new champion, show up, and Hook, who has recently joined the Ops Dojo, address the people, the rednecks in the crowd, about how he's potentially the greatest second-generation wrestler ever. But dude, the aura pulsating off of these guys that walked into the arena at the same time, in the middle of all this rah-rah, with their chains in hand. Oh my goodness. And we talked about this in the live stream too. I think that it's eventually at a point where the enemy of my enemy is my friend. These guys hate each other so much, but they would just prefer that nobody else gets the belt. They don't like Samoa Joe. They don't like John Moxley. So they'll do whatever they can do in order to help one another and ensure that none of these other dastardly guys hold the title. At the end of the day, if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be Swerve and Hangman. And I think that through all the shenanigans, all the beef, all the animosity that they held for one another, they've essentially formed a bond. Where like, bro, through the trials and tribulations that we went through, you might be alright. But yeah, I knew it was going to get pretty bad when Hangman stopped and got a shot before he hit the ring. He and Swerve wrecked house, bro. They came out with their chains and just put these guys through it, bro. I mean, dude, we don't even know these guys' names. Look what they had to undergo. Now, do any of y'all believe that this could potentially turn itself into a triple threat match? Or, we talked about it in the live stream too, this could potentially mean that people are after the trios belts and somebody can align themselves with Swerve and Hangman. Maybe Eddie Kingston? What do y'all think? Surprise, surprise, I think that's what's going to happen because Eddie Kingston announced he's going to have a match against the third member of the Ops anyways, Ibushi. So, we got to see another Continental Classic match, MASCARA Dorada versus John Moxley. If you thought Dorada was winning this, you're crazy. Unfortunately, some of the guys in the chat tried to keep my spirit alive. I was just not going for it. MASCARA definitely has some fire moves, but no. I will say, he actually brought a lot out of Moxley, and Moxley has surprised me. Like, he was doing, like, outside the ring dives and everything. I didn't expect that from Mox. But this dude got merciless and eventually choked out my boy. Choked him out. The next match actually surprised me. I was not expecting Darby versus Speedball to go this way. I mean, Kevin Knight, very good. Darby, insane. I don't understand how this guy does the things that he does, go through flaming tables, get put through hell, and then just show up next week. He's insane. But nonetheless, he did, and him and Kevin Knight put on a really good match. I assumed that Darby was just going to eventually find a way to win, but eventually it was actually Mr. Speedball. I mean, these dudes were brawling, bro. Like, there was some moments where I thought that Darby Allin really took control of his match. I mean, he was doing, like, drop kicks off the stage. It was crazy stuff. You know Kevin Knight's a high flyer, so he was doing his stuff. But yeah, he was able to land the UFO splash and win. I did make a comment about the MASCARA match. I was like, bro, this dude MASCARA hit a 450 and did not pin Moxley, and then eventually tried to hit a shooting star splash, which was eventually the beginning of the end for him, and because he missed it. Some of these stuff when people do off the top rope, I'm like, bro, that should just be, that should end the match. So I was glad to see that, you know, Kevin Knight was able to win this, and that this could potentially mean something for the guys that aren't normally in the scene. Side note, I noticed an AEW video, but we were talking about it in the chat. And I think I will salute is that even though I would argue AEW is really match focused, these guys have been putting a lot of these storyline beats in our head for quite some time. So all these guys do tie in one way or the other through some of the match history, through some of the storylines, beefs, partnerships, all that good stuff. Additionally, I do think it's nice that we are starting to see the guys that aren't your mainstays on TV actually getting opportunities to show that they can hoop as well. We were kind of formulating some theories about what could happen with the Death Riders, and that the potential is still there for everything to just completely fall apart. But these guys have still remained, up until this point, pretty faithful to Jon Moxley. The day could possibly come, though. If this dude doesn't win this tournament, I don't know. The Death Riders, they may not slide behind this dude anymore. We also did get to see a KRIS Statlander moment where she was crowned the greatest in the galaxy by Miss Renee, who always finds a way to start laughing in the middle of these interviews, bro. She's crazy. But that was something we talked about too. Where do y'all think that Statlander goes next? She took out the top dogs, right? So she took out Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné. What could possibly be next for her? She's already beat the best of the best, right? Do you think she ends up spinning it back between these two women, or a triple threat match? I mean, who's going to be the next challenger, you think? I'm sure that Mercedes is going to disappear for a little bit, like she did after she lost to Toni Storm. And she could probably try and garner her bearings. But who else do you think battles her? And what, if she was to lose, what do you think the potential storyline could look like? Because even if I lose this belt, if I hold it for a few months, I can still say I beat Mercedes and Toni Storm. Many women, majority of the women in the locker room cannot say that. And this is the match where everything falls apart. It just falls all apart. Claudio and Orange Cassidy matched up. It was pretty brutal, as you can expect. Claudio was always going to be hard-hitting, and he's really grown on me recently as well. Orange Cassidy always finds a way to kind of look really scrappy in the midst of these battles, and I know a lot of people love him because he was getting plenty of chance. And there was a moment where I thought Orange Cassidy was going to win it, but man, he hit Claudio with his best and was still not able to get a pin. So once that happened, I was, oh yeah, Claudio got this match. And got it, he did. Hit him with a super uppercut, and that was all she wrote. The Death Riders showed up, and you know, when the Death Riders are in the building, I mean, this is a relatively calm show. But when the Death Riders show up in the building, they show up to the ring, and it's like they're like flies, bro, to like something sweet. When they see that they have a numbers advantage, it just gets bad. So plenty of people were running out to the ring. It turned into a really big brawl. I mean, my boy Takesha was out there repping with these super nice Travis Scott ones. He was definitely not trying to get his kicks creased. But it was Don Callis family, Death Riders, the conglomeration. But yeah, that was pretty much how the show ended. That's how a lot of wrestling shows are ending nowadays, brawls. This one I'm not too mad about because it has been beef. They've been building up for a while. It wasn't oversaturated or shown in this episode. And I do at least like that they kind of take the brakes off after a crazy PLE and start to open up opportunities for more storylines to develop. And that's what we're starting to see. I mean, obviously some beats that we've been seeing for a couple weeks, but we're not seeing the heavy hitters get into the madness that we just saw them get out of, right? I am interested to see kind of where this Hangman and Swerve situation goes. Like I said, I think it's going to end up being a trios match, and I'm excited to hear from FTR. All in all, you know how I like to rate things. Yay, nay, somewhere in the middle. Okay. I'm going to be generous today and just give it an okay. I mean, I think that there's plenty more to be excited about, and I think that the culmination of who's going to be the winners of some of these tournaments and the next steps are going to really like solidify. But of course, in regards to just wrestling, these matches were all very good. No real sleepers here. I'm gonna admit that. I mean, majority of this episode was just matches, and I mean, clean. Like, you can't go bad watching any of these. But like I said, in regards to storyline, nothing too crazy kicked off storyline wise, but there's likely going to be a lot of important callbacks because OKADA lost, and this could mean something in regards to the way that they're viewed in the Don Callis family. Additionally, we were speculating that it could mean something that potentially Claudio Castelloni can match off against Mr. Mox. I'm excited to see this match too with Toni Storm and Megan Bayne. Those two teams could really get after it. So, did I say Ibushi was fighting earlier too? I don't even know who I said. I know I meant Shibata. He's gonna be fighting against Eddie. But yeah, solid episode. I'm excited to see what they're gonna be doing Thanksgiving. I appreciate each and every one of y'all that have been joining with me, watching somebody come up. We've been vibing. We've been kind of celebrating in unison. Again, the Benji family. We rocking out. Looks like we're gonna be watching Collision with our family together. Appreciate y'all for watching this video. Let me know what you want to see next, and stay tuned to the next one. Peace.